So, welcome everyone to Intergenerational Dialogue. This project is initiated by Dr. Ann Hilty and myself with the aim to better understand and engage our BPW members of different generation. So, the topic for today is women and environment because it's a very sensitive topic, but we take it very casually because it is easy to talk about sustainable development, but it is equally hard when it comes to implementing our daily and professional life. So today we'll not be talking about, women and environment and everything related to that, but we'll be listening to two presenters who are actually, implementing it, are in action in the field. So that we have two speakers today. It is a 1 hour event where first 30 minutes, it will be our presenters who will be presenting their action and their, idea about how they can, work towards this environmental thing. And another one is we have 30 minutes where we open the floor to everyone to share what you are doing in your personal and professional life. So, with this, I would like to welcome our first speaker, who is Tabata Maceto, who is a young BPW representative from BPW Brazil, very active woman, and she has a lot to share. So, I would like to open the floor to Mazata. Now, the floor is all yours, Tabata, sorry.
Thank you. Good morning to all sisters around the world in BPW. It's an amazing opportunity to be here with you in this movement, talking about nature, environment, and small things that we can do daily. And I believe that one by one, yes, we can change the world in small actions like this today. So I'm gonna start my presentation. Um, I divided what I had to do, what Nielima invited me to, in three different topics, right? So I'm gonna talk about the same thing in three different point of view perspectives. So I'm gonna talk what's going on in the world, what is going on in BPW Brazil, and what's going on in me, with us, in that case, in my personal life. So to start with our nature, I would like to bring a view of what is going on today near to my house, in my country, in my state. Pantanal is the world's largest wetland and it's experiencing the greatest environmental tragedy in history. I live 2 hours from Pantanal and I studied there for 3 years in natural science. Pantanal is suffering from deforestation and has the worst burning period in history. But we were used to fires because fires are common and natural during the dry season in Pantanal, which usually occurs between June and September. But what happens now, which differs from normal, is that the climate is exceptionally dry, making places that were covered by water, even in periods of little rain, erased and uncovered. So, what happened is that some areas will not remain flooded during the drought. So, there is a very large accumulated and exposed biomass, which was available for burning in this period of time. With little humidity, it is difficult to control and fight fires, which is hitting records now. 2.3 million hectares were consumed by fire in Pantanal, an area equivalent to 15% of its size, an area bigger than New York City. This area corresponds to 15 times the city of São Paulo, which is the largest city in South America. This puts animals and riverside people lives at risks, destroys biomasses, and directly impacts the global climate change, what we're talking about. So I heard people saying every day, so the garbage is out there. I know it's in the ocean, but it's out there. The burn is out there. It's not near to my house. The exploration is out there. There is no out there. I believe where is out there? It's our of our home. There is no out or in because we're all sharing the same world. So what we are doing to help, because it's easy to say with some what someone is doing, what is going on in the world, but what we are doing. And I would like to talk in this small view that we know that's going on near to my house. The sky is brown every day, it's gray, and we can't even see the sun because it's burning out there, but it's 2 hours from my house, and this will impact the whole world. So I would like to talk about things that are going on in our BPW in this moment to try to help Pantanal. So what we are doing, it's projects that are going on right now. SOS Nature, that Brazil BPW Environment Committee with ZAGE are posting cards with some questions as what can you do for nature? What can youth do for nature? What are you doing to save the nature? Using the model of UN in social medias to help us to start think and do something about the topic nature and actions. So we will bring aware. We also have SOS Wild Animals with the Environment Committee, putting together all the efforts to collect and buy medications for wild animals that were affected with Pantanal fire. And whoever wants to help, we are open to help. So we have the email there. You can send the email and say that you want to help with any medications because the animals will still need. And in the water field, we have water ambassadors where Yara is always teaching us and talking and making us aware about the water and resources that we have to use with knowledge. In this water field too, we have a very special young BPW, Eliudi. Eliudi is a young BPW and she's a member of a hydrographic basis and representative of BPW Brazil in a national way. So it's amazing that we have someone there to take responsible decisions. But why um, why am I saying about all of this? When Nia Lima invited me to talk, I know that there is a lot of people going on. When I started to think what's going on with the world, with our nature, when she invited me, I started to actually see what's going on. And there is a lot of many wonderful things going on to save the nature, but we need more. And she asked me to talk about my experience because I know that there's a lot of members of BPW here in Brazil that are doing some things in their local, in their personal life, and in BPW Brazil. But when we think about what we are doing, sometimes it's lighter, it's easy. We are doing this, that's a project. But I bring the question for what am I doing? Because when I put I instead of we, the responsibility increases for myself and I have to do something because it's not just we, it's me in my personal life. So I would like to share when I was in college thinking about my health, what could I do to be more natural, to have a minimal impact in my health that already had some consequences about this natural world, this world that we're living, that it's not so natural with makeup, with our hair, to have minimal impact in my health. And turned out that today I'm working in this natural field just because I start to think about what could I do. And today my company have more than 1,050 people working with me daily with natural solutions. But what do this have to do with the nature and the impact? Well, everyday consumers search for alternatives to chemical products that are toxic, both for their bodies and to the planet. So we started to look for natural solutions in small things of our day. For example, instead of using soap to clean my kitchen after fry something, I clean with my lemon essential oil. It is natural, but it's effective. I produce my own cosmetics, my own sauce. I put everything in glasses packing instead of using plastic. I do my creams with rose, rosemary, jasmine that are great for the skin, and I don't have to buy it. I can produce. I decide to use only organic products, and instead of buying, I produce they in my daily routine. And we have a project to teach people how to plant without pesticides using natural methods. For example, lavender water. It's simple, but it's a strong insecticide, or peppermint, or tea tree for little bugs. It's potent, it is chemistry too, but it's a natural chemistry. Won't harm my body and won't harm the nature. We call it co-impacting. We want to impact lives with natural habits, but we want to impact as equal nature for the good. Once I heard a honey supplier that works with me, he was saying, today I take care of my bees. I give them the best water and the best plants I can give. But for a long time, I was only a taker. And I started to think about it. I was only a taker. I was always taking everything that the bees produced, but I wasn't giving anything. So now I don't give just for the honey because they keep giving me the honey. I just give because I learn with them to give something too without wanting anything in return. So we need to think, what are we giving back to the earth? Not just because we want to use their resources, but because we want to give something for good. So in this lifestyle, I give free classes once a week to teach people how to create their own natural cleaning products for the house, for the skin, and many other solutions with a good impact, thinking always in our classes about me and about the nature. It's not us, it's not the world, it's what I am doing, what am I using, and how am I impacting. Now, imagine all the difference we could do together with the world, with BPW, and with our own business and daily routines with simple things. It's not a science, it's just simple. Let's change a soap for a lemon essential oil. Let's change a makeup for something more natural. And for the conclusion, I would like to share a video that it's really inspiring. Time for Nature of UN. Let me see how to start.
Nature is sending us a clear message. We are harming the natural world to our own detriment. Habitat degradation and biodiversity loss are accelerating. Climate disruption is getting worse. Fires, floods, droughts, and superstorms are more frequent and damaging. Oceans are eating and acidifying, destroying coral ecosystems. And now a new coronavirus is raging, undermining health and livelihoods. To care for humanity, we must care for nature. We need our entire global community to change course. Let's rethink what we buy and use, adopt sustainable habits, farming and business models, safeguard remaining wild spaces and wildlife, and commit to a green and resilient future. As we work to build back better, let us put nature where it belongs, at the heart of our decision-making. On this World Environment Day, it's time for nature.
So, for the next year, we young BPW from Brazil will accept the challenge of UN, and we will have our time for nature once a month, inviting members to talk in our social medias every first Monday of the month about the environment, about the good habits of nature, about their business, about how can we have a sustainable business and eco-friendly products, about how they are doing this, and it is profitable, but it's helping. So we're gonna invite everyone that we have to talk once a month, because good habits, we first start to think, and then we need to plan, and then we put in action. But now we are needing action for sure. So we want to share the actions that are going on. So we invite everyone to join us with this challenge of Time for Nature in UN 2, and share with us in social medias what you're doing, because I believe that through awareness, we are gradually bringing natural solutions and collective changes. So that's what I prepared for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tabata. It's wonderful to hear what you're doing in your personal and your professional, and also what you're doing with the BPW. Hope a lot of other countries can, learn from you and then be, implement what you're doing. So with this, I would like to thank you, and we'll have a question and answer round for you as well. So the next speaker we have today is Jalpa Bhitalani, who is the president of BPW South Mumbai. And I would like to request her to present her presentation, which is an amazing work that she has been doing in a professional as personal, and also with BPW. So welcome, dear Jalpa. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Nilima. It's an honor to be part of this beautiful dialogue on women and environment. And Tabata, I completely agree with you. You know, it's the time when we have to think about not just what we've been receiving from Mother Earth, but what we can, give back, how there can be a synergy. And if we look at this pandemic beyond what is happening, on an earthly front, nature is definitely reclaiming her power, because of years and years of abuse that she has kind of, been through. So it's a great time that we are talking about environment. I think we all need to get a lot more conscious. It's also time for us to reevaluate our priorities, reset the way we are living our lives in a more conscious way. So yes, like Nalima said, I'm the president of BPW South Bombay. But today I'd like to introduce myself as a farmer. I've been a farmer. I've been farming since 2 decades. And, definitely when you're working with the soil, you're constantly connected to the Mother Earth and, to the environment. I also just briefly will just introduce that I have a logistics business. I have an art gallery, and also I'm keenly enjoy doing philanthropic work. I think like all our BPW sisters around the world, and I'm the state director of an NGO called Humans for Humanity. Where we're doing a lot of work, in sync with BPW and the UN principles. So I'm going to actually screen share, Nilima, and move into, because I'm going to get, as I share a journey, I'm going to talk to you about sustainable menstruation, which is something we're very passionate about. And I think that, it's beyond moving with sustainable menstruation to the rural areas. It's also for us women to consider start using cloth pads. If we look at the menstrual waste, we're really contributing to. And the other topic I'm going to talk about is something, again, I'm very passionate about. It is biodynamic farming. I don't know how many people from here have heard about biodynamic farming. I know we'll do the questions later, but has anybody heard about biodynamic farming? So it's beyond just the farming. We're talking about constellations, we're talking about the life forces and so many other things. So I'm going to take you on a little journey with that part as well. So with that, so So, I'm going to talk to you, of course, from the Indian perspective to start with. When we're looking at, we're generating about 432 million sanitary napkins in India. And this has the potential to cover landfills across 24 acres of land. And there's an enormous amount of pollution, which is hazardous, for the soil, harsh odors, which are emitted by the waste disposed of or buried in soil. This waste is obviously very, very toxic and hazardous to not only the soil health, but also to human health as a whole. And the chemicals from the pads which reach the soil cause groundwater pollution and loss of soil fertility. Now, when we're looking at the disposal of the sanitary waste, it's a very big question mark in India. A solid waste management official was mentioning to me that they're not even sure sometimes if sanitary napkins can be classified as biomedical waste or dry waste, and so often in slum areas and villages, people are actually even throwing used napkins in open drains. And, while incineration is proposed as a solution, the costs of scientifically managed incineration are very prone, as they may cause harm and allergies. And also they could go up to 25 USD per kilo of sanitary waste in the large cities. Many women flush down their sanitary napkins, unfortunately, and manual scavengers are bearing the health costs for the same. Pad designs initially incorporated with very thin polypropylene sheets. And then from the 1970s, designers found ways to weave polyester fibers into the squishy part of the pad to wick the fluid away in absorbent cores, which were there. So this made the pads thinner and the super absorbent materials grew more sophisticated. But this, again, made their disposal a lot more of a challenge. What doesn't occur to most women is that over 1 billion of these non-compostable sanitary pads are making their ways into sewage systems, landfills, posing to be huge environmental and health risks. And with taboos and superstitions galore, which our menstruating women in India face, basically the technologies, safe technologies and interventions to dispose these pads and treat menstrual waste have become a big challenge. So basically, even our prime minister has come up with a solid waste management rules. He came up with a set of rules last year, but there are a lot of health risks for the waste collector. And the plastic layer, which is used to make it stain free, and the chemicals used are actually contributing a lot to pollution of the soil, water, and air as a whole. So like I mentioned, I'm the state director of an NGO called Humans for Humanity. And, this has been set up by Anurag Chauhan, who's a young man in the, in the photograph at the young age of 16, actually. So BPW South Bombay is working with the NGO, and we have a special focus on women and girls. And one of the projects which we are very passionate about is WASH, which is Women's Sanitation and Hygiene. Our focus is to break the taboos, question old age beliefs, move on with the times rather than blindly following customs. This project has reached and benefited an immense number of women. The biggest invention after World War II has been sanitary napkins. I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but it was the biggest step empowering women around the world. After this, a lot of girls could go to school, they could go to work, and there is still a huge population in India which is dying due to poor menstrual hygiene. Every year in India, it is estimated that 240,000 women die due to personal, poor menstrual hygiene practices. We are actually holding workshops for a lot of young girls and distributing free sanitary napkins during these workshops. The idea is to make them aware about menstruation, proper disposal, biological reasons of menstruation, hormonal changes, nutrition, and these are conducted in rural slums, urban slums, in villages, in tribal areas, everywhere that we can reach out to women. So considering that we've been doing this work, a parallel initiative we started is that we started producing eco-friendly cloth pad kits. What is special is that these kits can be used for a period of 2 years and they are very comfortable. Sustainable menstruation refers to practices where environment-friendly alternatives to menstrual products are used which do not produce waste. So we basically, this is some of our cloth pad making workshops. And, we've been doing a lot of work even during the pandemic with virtual workshops. These were 100 community groups in Bihar. You can see behind every little mobile, they don't even have good internet connections, but there were 10 to 20 women listening to us. And they actually started producing the pads after that. This is the same women at work, and they are distributing it to women who are even poorer than them. So it's amazing how this work has really taken forward. And we're doing this, it's also providing them livelihood actually during the pandemic, which is great. So we're generating employment for the women who've been trained. And this is an ongoing process. So now that I've given you the backdrop, I'm going to talk about sustainable menstrual cycle. A sustainable menstruation is referring to environment-friendly alternatives to menstrual products. We're advocating the promoting the use of reusable products. Okay, and we're also being responsible about waste picking and segregation because it's done by hand in India. And basically, this also really attempts to tackle the issue of human rights and dignity of the manual scavengers. 6% of non-biodegradable waste is created by hygiene products, including menstruation products, wipes, and diapers. And I'm not sure again how many of you are aware, but a normal sanitary pad, which you and me use, can take 500 to 800 years to decompose. Okay, and this can lead to serious health and environmental hazards. Well, what are cloth pads? Cloth pads are ones, which are reusable. And of course, you change it every few hours after they completely absorb the blood. It's very easy to wash them. Of course, that has to be done responsibly. Only then can we reuse them. And you don't have to dispose these and buy new ones. So it saves a lot of money. And also, it's very easy to secure these because what we produce ourselves, we are making these sanitary napkins in Humans for Humanity. These can be buttoned up and securely fastened. So a lot of the rural women find it much easier to work. So I would again like to mention the cotton ones take 3 to 5 months to decompose, and they are a lot more breathable and healthier. The longer used pads are kept in the open and kept in contact with air. The more they are prone to becoming pathogenic. Stagnant natural blood accumulates a lot of bacteria, which rapidly multiplies at a very quick rate. So now I'm going to quickly journey you through how we make these pads. It's more like a visual journey because of course this is not a workshop, but you need simple material, and this is some of the our patented designs when we are teaching the women. So what we are really talking about is eco-friendly menstruation, and which is completely in alignment with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. And washing the pads is extremely important. So we educate them even on simple products which they can get at home, like turmeric, like neem leaves, and so that they can avoid any kind of fungal or bacterial infection. The natural sunlight, of course, is a great antiseptic, and a great way. So I'd like to end this segment of my presentation by sharing a beautiful quote with all of you sisters. The great mother, whom we call Inanna, gave a gift to women that is not known among men. And this is the secret of blood. So yes, I'd like to encourage a lot of you to take up a sustainable menstruation, in your own areas. And now I'm moving to another part, which, of my life, which has been an integral part of who I am. I think farming runs in your blood, and it accounts for a huge, it's been a lot of the population in India are actually into farming. So we are working with a lot of the young girls, from different villages over the years. And I'm going to talk to you, actually, this is something which is beyond me, but something which has touched me in a deep way, and that is biodynamic farming. Biodynamic farming was founded by Rudolf Steiner, and he says this is derived, these words, from two Greek words, which are bio, which means life, and dynamos, which means energy. This man was a highly trained scientist, and he had a great spiritual scientific approach to his knowledge on farming. And he has founded this amazing work, which he's taken to different parts of the world. Steiner has defined this as a path of knowledge whose objective is to guide the spiritual in man to the spiritual in the universe. Okay, here we are referring to the agriculture science that recognizes basic principles at work in nature and applies this knowledge of life forces to bring about the balance and healing in soil. What they are recognized is the biological values in the soil as well as the chemical values. You must have heard the saying that we are what we eat. And I'd like to read a beautiful verse for all farmers and to-be farmers from this group. Seek the truly practical material life, but seek it so that it does not numb you to the spirit. Seek the spirit, but seek it not in passion for the super sensible, but seek it because you wish to apply it selflessly in the practical world, in the practical life. Turn to the ancient principle. Matter is never without spirit, and spirit is never without matter, in such a way that we say, we will do all things in the light of the spirit, and we will so seek that light of the spirit that it evokes warmth for us in our practical activities. This is again, like Tabata said, about giving back, about finding a balance, about synergy. So here in biodynamic agriculture, we have actually Rudolf Steiner has set forth basically a new way of thinking about the relationship of the environment and earth and soil to the formative forces of nature. He pointed out how the health of the soil, plants, and animals depends upon bringing nature into connection again with the cosmic, creative, shaping forces. So when we are talking about working with cosmic cycles, right? And I'd like to also mention quickly, this is about practical applications to secure healthy soil, healthy plants, which in turn will produce healthy food for us and good health overall for animals and for mankind. And of course, good health for the planet Earth, which is what we are talking about today. So when we are talking about cosmic cycles, all living phenomena on Earth bring forth and are maintained through an activity of rhythms. Okay, they are subject to cosmic cycles. Biodynamic agriculture takes into account the rhythms of the cosmos and the practical applications of these in activities such as sowing, transplanting, cultivation, and harvesting. What is biodynamic nutrition? Earthly food ingredients, they merely build our nerve sense system, and they are used for the production of energy for our muscle movements and supply to internal organs. However, the building up of substance in the body occurs through the uptake of substances through our sense organs, the eyes, the skin, breathing from the cosmos. Therefore, it is important that the food itself is very healthy and as vital as possible so that we can tap into these cosmic forces which are around us. The forces we get from the food largely influence whether we will implement our will into the world. Biodynamic agriculture produces food that nourishes the body, mind, and the spirit. Now we are talking about the biological values in the soil, the chemical values. Humus is the dark organic matter that forms in the soil where plant and animal matter decays. Humus is the foundation of good, fertile, living soil. Okay, and it's very important that the soil has an abundant living biological activity, and humus gives the soil the ability to absorb and retain moisture, by which soil needs less irrigation. Humus is very important and provides a reservoir for plant nutrients available in the soil, and it plays a part in supporting soil bacteria such as rhizobacter, which all are very important for legume nodulation and also phosphate solubilizing bacteria. Now we're going to talk to you about animals. You know, we're really talking about the entire circle of life here. Now, when we're talking about animals, it's very important that these are the creatures which ensure that there is a cycle of substance on the farm. What livestock eat as fodder, they digest. Later, it partly becomes available in the form of manure. The manure is returned to the land, and that land can then produce more fodder and other products. This cycle of substances is permeated with life forces which give the farm its own individual quality. The ideal setup of a biodynamic farm is a mixed farm with livestock, fodder crops producing their own manure, and their different subsystems which are in place. The fields, the manure, the meadows, and the animals are all interrelating properly. And in such a case, elements are assimilated from the air, such as the nitrogen, which is absorbed by the leguminous plants, the carbon dioxide, which is assimilated, and the energy of the sun. The farm feeds on this, and the food produced for man is created as a contribution to life on earth. Animals not only have a physical body. Here I'm making you think a little bit with me out of the box. They have a life body like plants. Animals have a higher organization, which enables them to act in a more independent and free fashion. They can express their feelings and their behavior. They can make us hear their call. They have an inner world and can clearly react to the outer world, digging a hole, building a nest. Therefore, they are less dependent on the earth, less rooted in the life body of the earth. This organization, which gives animals their consciousness and potential to express themselves, is known as their astral body or sentient body. It is called astral because the forces which act on the astral body come from the world of stars and planets. In the ancient Indian ethos, the cow has been venerated as the Kamdhenu. The sacred cow denotes purity and non-erotic fertility, sacrificing and motherly nature and sustenance of life. So basically, biodynamic farming cannot take place without cows. I would like to also share that most breeds of cattle have horns, which continue to grow throughout their lives and contribute to their health. Like the fingers that we have on our human body, these horns represent a cow's individuality and are far more than simply an appendix to their heads. These are sense organs. Did you know that these horns not only have a stream of blood flowing through them, as is seen when they are damaged or removed, but these are connected to the sinus system of the cow, allowing air to circulate through the bones of this animal. Thus, they make an important and subtle contribution to the well-being of the cow and to the quality of her digestion and metabolism. And of course, it is the extraordinary power of the cow's digestive system which helps to build farm fertility. And this is the reason that cow manure is so valued all throughout the world. In biodynamics, we perceive a cow's horns to be of huge functional and spiritual importance, a perspective that comes naturally in countries like India. When an animal digests fodder, the substances and life forces assimilated from the plant nutrients are useful and necessary for it. What is excreted by the animal has been worked upon by the animal with its astral body. Astral forces are contained in the manure, and these are expressed, for example, in the form of odor and properties of the manure. And this manure and hum has great beneficial effects, like I've explained, in many, many different ways. So basically, we are reanimating natural forces in nature, and which modern agriculture has seen on the decline. Each researcher has found different cosmic influences to be dominant for their particular environment on the farm. For some, it has been the full moon cycle. For some, it has been the constellations and stars. So planetary influences stream from the macrocosm onto the earth, the microcosm. Planets near the earth are carriers of earthly calcium forces, and planets which are far away from the earth are the carriers of cosmic silica forces. The earthly forces, calcium, come in from the moon, Mercury, and Venus, and the cosmic forces, silica, come from Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So based on astronomical data, and here we are not talking about astrology, but astronomy, every year the biodynamic agriculture planting calendar is prepared to direct the farmer as to the perfect time and date for different planetary events, so he can plan his farm work scientifically and activities to enhance the beneficial influences and negate the harmful. This contributes to the environment of the earth and to the environment inside and outside human being. The planting calendar is about rhythms, cosmic rhythms, solar rhythms, the moon rhythms, and earthly rhythms. It is an aid to our conscious and purposeful participation in these rhythms that sustain all life on earth. And biodynamic farmers strive to bring life back to the soil so that the food produced from this living soil has increased life force, vitality, nutrition, enhancing the quality of our life. Human life, as well as plant life, is strongly dependent on the rhythms of the earth. As the earth turns its axis in the course of 24 hours, we have day and then we have night. As it turns in the course of 1 year around the sun, we have the different seasons. The most familiar lunar rhythm is the rhythmic movement from the new moon to the full moon, which each of us witness every month. There is only one of numerous lunar or moon rhythms that astronomy scientists have mapped and can accurately calculate. The biodynamic farmer works primarily with 6 moon rhythms that occur every 27 to 29 days. And the planting calendar indicates the important days for farming activities during these 6 different rhythmic cycles every month. The element most affected by the moon is the water element, you know, the moon also affects our bodies and the water in our bodies. So for instance, the sap in the plant increases in the 48 hours leading up to the full moon that appear as a distinct increase in the moisture content even on the planet Earth. The growth forces of plants seem to have been enhanced. The full moon period, we find quick germination of seeds, fast plant growth, and rapid regrowth of any cut or pruned vegetation. There appears to be a quicker cell division and a tendency to elongation of growth. Seed germination is very fast during these conditions. The full moon provides favorable conditions for the growth of fungus as well due to the increase of moisture. There is an increase in plant insect activity and also parasites in animals and also in humans. So actually everything is very scientific. The full moon influence allows for good absorption of liquid manures. There is a tendency for rain at the full moon. And there is a lot more activity underground in the soil as the flow of sap in plants is less strong. Therefore, it is a good time for turning the green manure and cutting hay. Now I'm going to talk to you briefly about the Moon and Saturn, which is the most important time for planting for a farmer. These are on opposite sides of the earth, and their respective forces are raying into the earth from opposite directions. The moon forces bring in calcium processes, earthly, and are connected to propagation and growth forms, while the Saturn forces bring in the silica processes, the cosmic processes, which are connected to the building up of substance and bulk of the plant in root, leaf, and vegetable fruits. The balancing effects of both these influences streaming onto the earth produce very strong plants from the seeds sown at these times. Can you imagine how much we can help farmers by educating them about these things? So a great strengthening effect is observed when transplanting seedlings during the moon opposite Saturn. Well, where I have learned this wealth of knowledge is actually at a beautiful place situated in Gujarat, which I'm going to share with all of you in case any of you are interested or inspired to learn biodynamic farming. I'd also like to share that the best place for a farmer is on the field. The best fertilizer is when the farmer's footsteps are actually on his land. Baikaka Rishi Kendra is a 40-acre integrated biodynamic farm where you can learn this work, and it's a model farm for biodynamic farming, which is actually known all around the world. The farm is prominently featured in the internationally acclaimed movie One Man, One Cow, and One Planet, where Peter Proctor, who is known as the father of biodynamic agriculture in India, says it's one of the best biodynamic farms in the world. I had the privilege of learning with him and his amazing wife, Rachel, at Baikaka Rishi Kendra in Gujarat. And it's amazing, the wealth of knowledge and how it transformed my life and my way of thinking. A prominent goal of the farming is to disseminate the art and knowledge of sustainable farming. As you can see, there are so many of us women farmers on the field enjoying this work and creating a shift on our farms, within our bodies, and the environment as a whole. The farm and the farmer are deeply connected to the social structure and environment. And now I'd like to briefly touch upon what I did. This is at my farm. We started producing, we had started an organic wholesale nursery of fruit, vegetables, herbs, and flowers. And the idea was to grow healthy, wholesome, organic food that people can eat. And these gobar gamlas are made from the manure of the cows. So they are 100% biodegradable, organic, plantable containers. They allow unrestricted root growth. They can cushion the plants and provide a nourishing environment. So, we also started growing with natural seeds, all natural seeds, open pollinated seeds, which had never been touched by harmful chemicals and pesticides. And this meant that from the very birth, the plant was 100% organic, natural, and in its purest form. all the natural seeds are actually they're worth their weight in gold. So it's very important that each of us engages in seed saving, even when we are eating a fruit or a plant, anything at home. And that's why we're encouraging lots of people to save their seeds. And, we can build an heirloom seed bank between all of us. So I just would like to end on a simple note that truly the environment is a place where all of us meet. And I'd like to encourage everybody in this group to really look at, maybe consider biodynamic farming, share it with other farmer friends in their area, because we would consciously create a much more healthy and a better environment for Mother Earth. I'd also like to, invite each of us, even myself, to consider start using cloth pads, because that is the way for us to go forward for the Mother Earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jalpa. It was full of information. I think a lot of us can benefit out of it. So we have like now 20 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes left, for which it is open to all our audience if they are doing something related to environment. So I would like to request everyone to raise a hand with the raise hand function in the Facebook. Jalpa, can you put the slide down so it will be easier for me to see everyone?
Yes.
So if there is anyone who would like to share about your climate action, please raise a hand or just open the mic. Pinella.
Yes, it is great in Lima because recently, in the month of October, as BPW Europe, we created a new European working group about the green and sustainable environment for the future. A new working group. You know that BPW Europe is a big federation with about 11,000 members in about 40 countries in Europe. And we are able to organize a great movement of opinion, a great campaign about this issue. Because it needs our help. You are right, Tabata, you are right, Jalpa. And we need to take care of the nature, of the environment. So Tabata and Jalpa, if you need our help, we are here. This morning I wrote to all European presidents to approve this working group by online voting. So in the next week we are ready to work. And in this moment we are ready that form this working group by Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Turkey. But this is a working group available to work for our BPW members, clubs, and federations. Only this.
Thank you so much, Penella. It's wonderful to hear that, and hopefully a lot of young members will also be a part of it because they are in their early stage of starting the business. And I think being a part of it, they can come up with a very eco-friendly business. They can make money, but at the same time protect our environment as well. So with this, I would like to open the floor to our next participant, who is Sadiksha Aryal. Now the floor is all yours, Sadiksha.
Hello, everyone. It was absolutely overwhelming listening to the great works our friends from BPW are doing. And here I am, Sadiksha Agyal from BPW Nepal of BPW Tabata Chapter. I am an electronics and communication engineer, and I run project Solar Forward here in Nepal. And the basic services which I provide to rural communities is providing affordable clean energy solutions to promote productive usage of clean energy. But I also run Girls for Rurals network, which has around 160 young girls working as energy advocate in rural communities, and they are basically working for climate justice as well uh, as well as promoting the productive uses of clean energy for mechanization of agriculture in Nepal. The bottom of pyramid population in Nepal, they are most of them uh, have smallholder farmers, and along with my team, is working with smallholder farmers as archetypes. And these smallholder farmers have generally husbands working in Gulf countries as immigrant worker, and their husbands being not able to support their wives in practically, they would want to support them by purchasing clean energy equipment that would fulfill their absence. As such, we have as of now 2,600 uh, base customers, which are all smallholder farmers, and about 150 of them are being served by our online and offline platform called Gaon Butter, which means products from the village. And these are the same customers who have used our agricultural equipments enabled with the pay-as-you-go technology that allows them to pay as like monthly installments to reduce their upfront cost. And we are right as of now exploring the opportunities for collaboration in Nepal.
Thank you so much, Sadiksha. It's wonderful to hear what you're doing with implementing your knowledge for the rural women. So with this, I would like to encourage any other audience who would like to share what you're doing with your personal life or your business life. Or I
Nilima,
think Jalpa,
I'd like to
yes.
encourage everybody on this panel to watch the film, One Man, One Cow, and One Planet. I'd like to encourage everybody, whether you're a farmer or not, to watch this incredible film. I had seen it and I said, oh, wow, it would be a dream to meet Peter Proctor himself. And believe it or not, within a few days, I heard about this course in Gujarat in India, and I went and did the whole program with him. Peter Proctor is, of course, passed on, but trust me, watch this film. It will inspire you in many, many ways.
Nilima, can I speak?
Yes. Yes.
Um, I want to talk with you about one experience we make just now, Academy Ambassador of Water online with women of the 20 states in Brazil. And everybody, when the end of the course, present one project about water, how they can plant, how they can take care. It's very, very important because we finished just now, 5 days ago, and was great. And Maria Helena Baltazar is ambassador now. She is from Brazil and Florianopolis. And maybe she can speak something about the academy.
Thank you so much.
Sem microfone.
I think she is here.
Yes. Yes, I'm here. Well, Yara, I think it was a course. We have about 16 hours course. Was it 16 or about that? And it is about water. Everything in the planet has to do with water and life. The course is about life. So I told Yara, I think we should spread this knowledge, this experience to all BPW around the world, because without water, there is no life. So I think she was very happy to think about that, to plan and to put into practice the course with the best teachers in Brazil. They are doctors. The one has a postdoctor, is a postdoctor, and so it's an experience that is really necessary to all human beings these days, to think about the meaning of water in our body and how to prevent the water shortage, you see. So I think this is the main idea. I was not prepared to talk right now, so I could have brought some more information to see the importance of this course. It's Embaixadoras da Água, Women Ambassadors. Very important, really important uh, project to work for, to defend, you know. Hope to have said something, Yara. you just you have just invited me. Thanks.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to hear what you're doing there, and I hope a lot of others can also be a part of it. And we have really few minutes left, like 5 minutes more. So, is there anyone who is actually doing anything
Yara.
related to climate action? Please, you can unmute yourself. Charivi.
Hi, everybody. It was a great learning experience being on this webinar. I would like to thank the panelists. I'm from BPW Nepal, Young BPW Nepal, Kathmandu chapter. So basically, climate action, I think for me, it also needs to start from home. And one thing is reducing plastic consumption is, I think it's a very hard thing to do, especially because it's so like it's really around us. So like making that effort to stop consuming it, it can be difficult. And what I personally do is whenever somebody, I make it a point to like point it out, because hold people accountable when I can. And I think that I would consider a small climate action. And something else that I've been doing, which is with a club in my university, is raising funds for the water crisis that um, Africa has been facing more severely. And it raises funds for Sierra Leone, exact like specifically speaking. So I would just like to plug in that in, if anyone wants to donate, I would love to provide extra information or resources. Um, so yeah, thank you. That's it for me. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Charivi. You can, put up the link of the donation, whatever that you were doing, on the chat box, so it'd be easy for people to see. So, is there anything that any one of you want to share today? Because we have only a few minutes left.
Just talking about Charavi talked, we have a movement here in Brazil, and it's growing, and it calls Garbage Zero. So I don't know if they have the website in English, but they give a lot of tips like what she was talking about, how to change plastic for glasses. So you can use like, you can buy more food and you can put in glasses, or in places where you don't have just to unwrap with the plastic and throw away. So we buy what we're gonna use and we use it in a conscious way. So it's a really good website. If anyone is interested, I could translate some of the tips that we can do in our home or kitchen daily.
Regarding this plastic waste, this is one of the things that I think, as a woman, most of the women are in kitchen all the time. I am there all the time. So one thing I've seen is, when I'm minimizing the use of plastic waste or recycling it, I normally use limited plastic, but when I do, I wash it, I sun dry it, and I give it back to the shop. So what my kids used to say is that what will happen if it's just you who is doing it? And then I used to say that this is how you learn. So the next time you're about to throw a plastic, you will think of me. Even the food that we buy online, that it comes in a plastic bag, what I do is, if I can wash, I wash it. But if it's not reusable, I just wash it and put it inside the dustbin. Because one thing we need to realize is, when we are throwing everything away with the paper or plastic into a dumpster, there's a whole level of different chemical reaction that takes place. So what we can do is cut down in a private life is, try not to buy food that is wrapped with plastics or anything that's not recyclable. But at the same time, we minimize it. We make it conscious in our own lifestyle, that the younger ones, they learn from us. Because as a woman, I saw my father doing it, not my mother. My father used to do that. I used to find it, why he's so conscious about it. But now I think that is how you transfer the knowledge. And every single act that we do, whether it is in my personal life or it's my professional life, being an architect, I know there are times when I have to say no. When I wanted to use natural materials for the building, the client used to say they want to use cement. I said, you have a lot of natural materials in your village. Why don't you use it? So I used to, give up those projects if they are not happy with it. I try to explain to them, but I know it's not about money all the time. I think a lot of us, if you see, when I went to United Nations, I saw a lot of big people, big this corporate people talking about sustainable development, whereas they are making money, but they are the ones who are responsible for all this waste product, and they are the one talking about climate change. So I think we need to make them responsible, speak up at those events, to make them figure it out, a way in which they can make their products also a very eco-friendly product. So with this, I think we have almost I don't think we have any more other people who wants to speak up, because I don't see any raised hand. And with
Nilima,
this, I would like to thank. Yes.
that I'd like to say that it would be lovely to do a workshop with Tabata on the products. She's doing virtual workshops, so maybe you could organize something, where we all have the opportunity to learn that. It would be lovely.
Yes, great. I can prepare something in English.
Okay, great. That would be nice.
Thank you so much, Jalpa and Tabata. So with this, I would like to thank every one of you who made an effort to be here today. So I would like to tell you that this intergenerational dialogue takes place every month, the first Wednesday of every month. And we have different topics every month. And so it will be wonderful to have all of you next month, next Wednesday. So with this, I would like to thank you. And I hope to see you in next webinar as well. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Nilima, and especially for setting the ground so beautifully. I'd like to share with the audience that Nilima said, Jalpa, this is beyond you. It's just about inspiring people to think differently. And that made it, more purposeful about life, and about whether it was agriculture, whether it was menstruation, or, listening to Tabata. It was amazing. So thank you for setting the floor and doing such amazing work, Nilima.
Thank you. And also, one thing I would like to request is everyone who's in the room today or listening to this video later on, in your club or in your country, try to make sure that you have this kind of webinars, so that you bring more people to talk about it. The more we talk about it, the more we feel responsible for all the pollution that we are doing on our personal behalf. So I think it's time we raise this voice louder. It has to go beyond BPW as well. So thank you so much, everyone.